Today's topic is credit, scores, and their effects on consumers. We'll cover budgeting, consumer laws, credit myths, collections, the cost of bad credit, credit types, credit building, how to get a free credit report evaluation from us, as well as solutions in our referral program. We've got a budgeting webinar coming up, and what it's going to cover is what is a budget, how to set one up, budgeting tips and mistakes to avoid, goal setting, and maintaining your budget. Consumer laws. Now, there are three consumer laws in place. The first one is the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, then there's the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, and the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Telephone Consumer Protection Act was set up back in the 90s to protect consumers from telemarketers, and mainly because of the type of telephone dialing system which was automated that the telemarketers were using. Well, that was so successful for the telemarketers that the debt collectors adapted the same system. And so what the law says is that they have to have your written express permission in order to call you using this particular telephone system. Now, we all know that no debt collector ever sends you something in writing saying, hey, we need to call you to collect on the debt, we need to get permission to call you. It just never happens. So because of not getting that written express permission from you, each phone call that a debt collector makes to you is potentially worth somewhere between $500 and $1,500 per call. We'll talk about that in additional webinars and maybe a little bit more in the presentation. The Fair Debt Collection Practices Act is the guidelines that the debt collectors are supposed to follow when they are collecting an alleged debt. Okay, it's also the same guidelines that us as consumers would follow to dispute a portion or all of a debt. Fair Credit Reporting Act deals with debts, or I should say information that's reported on the credit file from debt collectors, creditors, as well as any other entities that may report something. Now also it works on on behalf of the consumer as well, because it gives us the right to be able to dispute any and everything that is on the credit report. So those are three powerful laws that you need to know about. You may want to do some studying on it, and these are what we employ when we're dealing with our clients. Let's go into a few credit repair myths. I heard it's illegal to repair my credit. That's not true. Okay. The Fair Credit Reporting Act makes it possible as a consumer for you to dispute anything that's on your credit report. Now, I didn't say that would get it off. I just said that it gives you the right to dispute anything that's on your credit report. Credit repair companies are scams. If anyone has told you this, you need to run in the opposite direction from them, because they're telling you something that's not true, and it's not going to be beneficial to you as well. Is there a guarantee? From time to time I get this question about, is there a guarantee? There's no guarantee with disputing anything that's on your credit report, be it whether you do it as a consumer on your own individual efforts or whether you hire a company. Bankruptcy, judgments, and tax liens stay on your credit report for 10 years, and collections, charge-offs, lates, foreclosures, and repos stay on for 7 years. That's a little misleading. Actually, there's some extra words that if you happen to look at this underneath the Fair Credit Reporting Act that says up to 10 years and up to 7 years. What that means is that they will keep it on your report for up to that time frame. But as a consumer, we can go in and you can dispute any of these items, and it could potentially come off that report sooner than the 7 or the 10 years. Now, with the exception of judgments. Judgments is a little stickier scenario. Okay, if a judgment creditor renews that judgment on you every 7 years, I mean, a judgment could stay with you on your credit report or just against you for the rest of your life. It just depends on how aggressive that judgment creditor are. Okay, negative information removed will come back on my credit report. I think this is another misconception. I'm not sure if it's information that's been fed out to the general public to discourage you from doing anything about your credit, because keep in mind, banks and creditors, make more money with consumers that have bad credit than the consumers that have good credit. And I want to repeat that again. Banks and creditors make more money with consumers that have bad credit than they do with individuals that have good credit. Someone who has good credit will get low interest rates, and they have more of a preference to pick and choose who they want to go through for financing. Okay, when you have bad credit, you don't have that same favor. So you have to pretty much go with whoever picks you up. So you may buy a car and they may comfortably put you in at 29.95% interest. You have no other choice if you have bad credit. Okay, so as far as negative information removed will come back on my credit report, we've never seen this scenario. I have clients that will ask that question, and but we've never seen that scenario happen with any of our cases, and I've been doing this for a while. Now, as far as accounts must be paid prior to deletion, that's not true. You know, you can have a charge-off that's has an outstanding balance, and if we dispute it, it can be removed off your credit report. I mean, we've gotten it all off, the charge-offs, the collections, tax liens, judgments. We've disputed, we've got those things off, and they still had unpaid balances on it. I paid a collection, so why is it still on my credit report? Now, this one is always kind of funny to me, and I guess because I know, but I always take a few moments and I educate my potential clients or my clients about this particular statement. I think that, you know, consumers, the average consumer tends to think that if they pay something that's bad on a report, that that item is going to automatically be taken off. You know, and that's not that's furthest from the truth. Your credit report is just a history of how you pay your bills. So if you've stumbled along the way, it's going to show when you stumble and how far did you stumble. You know, they're not going to just say, well, okay, well, we're going to just take these negative things off of a person's credit report. And that's where credit repair or our credit correction service can aid you, as far as if you have any paid collections or any paid negative items, to be able to dispute it and get those items off the report. Collections. We take a different approach on collections. You know, we're going to educate you on how to turn the tables on debt collectors. Now, when I mentioned the 3 consumer laws, I mentioned that the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. So typically when a debt collector is calling you, they're allegedly collecting on a debt. So they're trying to get money from you. All right. Based upon their actions, we could flip the table on them, and instead of them getting money from you, you could potentially be getting money from them. So it's based upon how many calls that they make to you, their conduct and behavior on the phone, things that they send to you in writing, how they report on your credit file, you know. But ultimately, your goal should be, regardless to whether you get any monetary gain out of it or not, is how can I get this debt eliminated without me having to come out of pocket. Okay, we'll show you how to get that done. The cost of bad credit. We'll look at 2 examples. $20,000 car loan paid over 5 years. Now, if you've got good credit, you get 4.9% interest. You're going to have a payment of about $376.51 a month. But if you are not so favored, and let's say you end up buying a new car, but you get hit with 19% interest rate on that car, that same $20,000 car is going to cost you $518.81 in payments. Now that's, you know, about a $140 difference if I'm doing my math right. Now, over a course of a 5-year term for that loan, you're looking at paying an additional $8,500 in interest. Whereas if you sharpen up your credit a little bit before you go out and make this major purchase, you know, there's tons of money that you can save. Now, I would tend to think that at $8,500 that you can go on a very nice vacation this summer if you had $8,500. Let's look at the example of a $200,000 mortgage, because it gets worse. If you've got good credit, you get 5.9% interest. You're looking at $1,073.64 on your note. But let's say, for instance, if you get 9.9%, you're looking at $1,740.38 on for a note. So now that's almost about a $650 difference right there. Okay, now over the course of 30 years, you figure, okay, well, that's $650 extra a month. That's chump change. I can handle it. But over a 30-year period, you're looking at $240,000 extra that you're paying. Now, if you think about it like I do, that would be one heck of a knot to put into your retirement fund. And I mean, if you invest it properly, that might, triple. Okay, or $240,000, you should be able to go buy you another house and pay cash for it. So we won't make those mistakes. And one of the things I want you to keep in mind is that credit repair is legal. Credit repair is legal. Thousands of Americans suffer needlessly due to inaccuracies in their credit reports. Why suffer? Your credit report is a key financial tool. Don't let it be used against you. Let our credit correction consultants get involved in making sure that you get the credit that you deserve. Let's talk a little bit about credit types. In order for you to understand credit scores, you have to understand credit types. There are 5 credit types. The first is new credit. It only accounts for like 10% of your score. Real small amount, okay, but it's an impact. New credit would be things like how many times you apply for new credit. You need to get a new outfit for church on Sunday, and you say, well, I'll go out to the mall, and you happen to stop at Macy's, Saks, Nordstrom, Neiman Marcus, and because they're running 15% off on your first purchase if you apply and get approved for our credit card, you apply to all 4 of those places, and then you run over to JCPenney because you want to get that dress white shirt or a blouse, and you say, well, I'll apply for that one, and they offer you the same thing. So in one day, you've made 5 attempts at your credit. Well, that hurts you as far as inquiries, okay, but that much new credit being applied in one short time span hurts your credit score. So you don't want to go out and acquire too much too soon. Okay, the types of credit that you attract, that's another 10%. Okay, you want to make sure that you keep an even mix. Typically 2 to 3 revolving accounts, which would be your credit cards. It's pretty good. You can have 1 auto on there. You might want to do, let's say, maybe between 1 and 2 installment accounts, and then maybe a mortgage. Okay, so you're actually covering the 4 major credit types. Okay, now as far as the length of history, of credit history, that accounts for 15% of your score. So the length of credit is how long have you had an account. So if you've had an account for a year, it's not going to be as much of an impact on your credit as if you had that account for 3 years. Okay, and one of the things that you don't want to do is that you don't want to have had a pretty lengthy history on something. It doesn't matter if it was a year or 2, and close that account out. Okay, or have that account closed out by the guarantor, because what will happen is that you'll get it'll be a heck of an impact on your credit score. Now the amounts owed on credit, that can be detrimental. I was looking at a credit report just a few months ago, and this individual had just impeccable, but unfortunately there were a lot of high balances on credit cards, which kept them below the range that they were looking to be at to get some investment property. So as far as the amounts owed when it comes to revolving, and that was the scenario there, was the revolving accounts, you want to make sure that you keep your balances at about 30% of whatever your credit line is. So quick example, if you've got a $3,000 credit card, 30% of that is about $1,000. You want to make sure that at any point in time of the month that your balance is below $1,000. Okay, now Which would make that even better is that if you kept your balances down on your revolving accounts down to about maybe 10% of whatever your credit line is. So now that would drop it down to about 300. That would give you the maximum effect on your credit score. Now, as far as payment history, we tend to think that, hey, if I pay all my bills on time, it doesn't matter what my balance is on my card, that that should cover me, and it doesn't. That's only a piece of the equation there. Okay. Now, when you go out and you have like you get new accounts, like say you got to buy a car, you're gonna get a hit on your credit scores because now you've put a pretty high debt on there, and so as you make your payments and you begin to work your balances down, that credit score algorithm is going to go ahead and it's going to make some adjustments, and you'll start seeing your credit score go upwards. So keep in mind, when you get like an installment, if you get an auto loan, or if you get a mortgage, you're going to take a hit in credit score. Now, as far as how much, I don't know. We don't really control credit scores. So what we do is we work at focusing on how to dispute the negative information to give you a chance at having a better credit score. Credit building. Building credit the easy way. We've got a system that we've acquired about a year ago, and with this system, you can go and you can sign up and get secured and unsecured accounts, credit cards. Now, what we recommend, if you got some damaged credit and you have nothing open, come and get one of our secured cards. Now, what's different with our secured card as opposed to maybe some of the others out on the market is that our provider doesn't do any credit checks. Okay, so, and that's huge. Once upon a time, I used to get my prospects and my clients to go over to Bank of America. They would apply for a card, they would get it. That would be something to help build credit. And I guess when the banks had their bailout, they sort of changed some of their requirements, and I started noticing that a lot of my clients were being turned down. And the thing is that nobody really told me. I'm thinking that they had got the accounts, and so when I kind of got wind that one person was turned down, and I started checking with everyone else, I realized that there were a lot of them that were turned down, probably about 70%, which didn't work out for me, or really, I mean, for them. When I say for me, is that, if I make a recommendation, I'm hoping that whatever I tell you is something that you can benefit from, so I had to find another source, and then lo and behold, we got access to this platform, and it offers secured and unsecured credit cards. Now, as you get either a secured or unsecured card added to your account, you're going to see credit score improvements in as little as about 90 days. Okay, between 90 and 180 days. I spoke earlier about a free credit report evaluation. If you go over to creditchecktotal.com and you order your reports, it's going to cost you $1, and it's a 7-day trial. Okay. What you'll do is, and what Credit Check Total is, it's a credit monitoring service, and what it offers is it has all 3 credit reports into one report, as what we call it, a tri-merge. It's a little different than some of the others. If you've got a Credit Karma account and you say, well, hey, I can get Charles to use that. If it doesn't have access to all 3 reports, and doesn't just necessarily mean Credit Karma. I get a lot of clients that have Credit Karma, and but it doesn't give them all 3. Whatever credit monitoring system that you may currently have in your possession, if it doesn't show you all 3 credit reports, I'd prefer that we not talk about that one, and you go ahead and you go over to creditchecktotal.com and sign up for an account. It'll take you about 10 minutes to get signed up for an account. What you do is you can get back with me. You give me the username, the password, or your social, and those are going to be the 3 nuggets that I will need to be able to get into your account to do the evaluation on your report. Once that evaluation is done, I'll give you a call back, and I'll let you know what we're up against and what challenges that we have, and what hurdles we need to overcome in order to get you back in right standing with your credit. Now, if for some reason, if you had a Credit Check Total account and you can't get it, or there were some issues that you had with sign up, please get back with me as soon as possible, because we do have other alternatives. Now, let's talk some about the other solutions that we offer. Now, our credit correction is basically credit repair, except we've got more bells and whistles that we add in. One of the extra bells and whistles, if you compare us to some of the other credit repair companies out there, such as the Lexington Law. Those companies will only dispute the negative information that's on the credit report, and that is it. They only do their disputes with the credit reporting agencies. Whereas if you've got a collection on that report, it doesn't get addressed. The debt side of it doesn't get addressed. And so that could leave you open for liabilities. And we've run it across that several times, okay, with clients that are being sued and so forth, because they went with a company trying to save money, and all that company did was they disputed the negative information with the credit reporting agencies. They did not address any collections. Okay, now our collections resolution program, what it does is that if you got a debt collector that's calling you or sent you something in writing, and you happen to look at your report and you see that the item is on there and you just want to get that item addressed, what we'll do is we'll dispute that item directly with the debt collector. Okay, credit building, we just sort of talked about that with the secured and unsecured cards. We'll take a look at your credit report and we will custom design a solution for you as far as putting you on a path to build credit. Now, it might not necessarily be with our secured and unsecured cards. We've got some other options to take you out and get you some installment accounts, but if you follow it to the T, within 6 months from now, your scores are going to look a heck of a lot higher, and it could be sooner than what they're looking today. Okay, and if you've got any negative items on your report, that have to be addressed too, and that's why we like to look at that credit report. Now, as far as the debt collector call violations, if you've got debt collectors that's calling you, and let's say you've got excellent credit, but you just just out of the blue a debt collector call because there may be something in your past, and you figure, well, hey, look, I know Charles told me I can benefit from the call. I just need to get the debt taken care of, and if I can pick up some cash on the actual calling of it, I'll take it. Yeah, we can definitely make that happen. Okay, we can work with you, and if there's some money that we can that you're entitled to, of course we're going to put our best foot forward to so that you get it. We've already gotten a couple of checks in hand, and it's just been a great experience with this program, and we've only had it out for just a short time. Educational series. We've got an educational series. This is part of the educational series. The budgeting workshop that's going to be coming up pretty soon is part of our educational series. With this particular webinar platform that we have, we're going to do tons of webinars this year pertaining to various subjects. Some of them may be repeat, okay, because as we get new prospects and clients on board, we have to expose them to the information. Now, some of the webinars that we're going to cover are not only going to be budgeting, but we're going to cover tax advantages of a home-based business. We're going to go into more detail about the debt collector calls. We're going to cover check systems and telecheck. If you're in a situation where you can't get a bank account or write checks, you could have some issues with your check systems or telecheck. And then we also want to cover a topic about investing. We've got a particular I guess item that we think that you should invest in, and then also we'll have one coming up pretty soon about identity theft. Okay, so next on the list, lawsuits and judgment resolution. Lawsuit. If you've got a debt collector that's taking you to court trying to sue you, we can educate you on that process. And the clients that we've gotten, and over like the last maybe less than a year, when they've gone to court, the opposing attorney, debt collector's attorney, has basically dropped the case. Okay, now we're not attorneys. We don't go in and represent the client, but we do educate that client on what to say and what to do and how to conduct themselves in court and with the opposing attorney. And most times these guys realize that, hey, I think this pro se may know a little something, they'll drop the case. Now, as far as judgment resolution, if you looking at your credit report, we see that you have a judgment on there that might have occurred, and you just didn't know about it. You never got served, you never knew anything about it. This is your first time finding out about it. There could be a remedy for you to be able to go back into court and either get it dropped, or have it brought back before the court so that you can defend yourself. Okay, and that's powerful because most consumers just don't know about that. Now, another component with the judgment resolution is that let's say for instance you've gone to court, you knew about it, you lost and everything. We may be able to go in, and offer a do a settlement, okay, with the judgment creditor. And so now with that, if you decide that you want to go with that option, it's going to be a situation where you won't be able to make payment arrangements. I mean, it's going to have to be one lump fee that's paid. Okay, we'll work with you on that. And then as far as identity theft protection and legal expense plan, we've got a company that we refer you out to, and they've got two excellent programs. The identity theft protection will protect you, your spouse, and your kids under the age of 18. And as far as on the legal expense side of it, it'll cover, you, your spouse, and any kids that you have in school full time, and that includes college up until the age of 26. Okay, so very, very powerful programs, very powerful solutions that we offer. And a referral program. I'd be remiss if I didn't cover that. We'll you look out for us by referring your family and friends. Okay, we're gonna not only take care of them, okay, but we've got a little something for you. We'll give you a gift card of your choice. We'll talk to you more about the dollar amount of that, on a one-on-one session. Okay, but we will definitely compensate you for thinking highly enough of us to refer someone that to our service. Okay, and I mean, as you can see, all of these solutions are just common everyday items that consumers need. Now here's my information. We're going to hang around and do a little Q&A, but you can contact me, Charles Thompson. Number's 404-437-5902. Now, hours of operation are Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., and that's Eastern Standard Time, and on Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Email is improvemycredit@ymail.com, the letter ymail.com, or if you want to get additional information, go over to our website at correctmycreditplease.com. Once again, correctmycreditplease.com. So I'm going to leave this information up on the screen for just a second, and then we'll get into Q&A.